Hey, what is going on, Swift family? It's your boy Swift. Today, I got a special video for you guys. This is something that has been requested for a long time, and I just haven't had the time to put it together. Today, I'm going to be putting together this tips and tricks video for you guys for high rank PvP and just PvP in general. I think if you guys take these tips and tricks that I talk about with you guys, it's going to definitely improve your game, and I guarantee you will be getting more wins. So without further ado, let's jump in. I have a couple things that I have visual representations to show you, and then I also have a couple things that I just want to talk about and, you know, just kind of translate to you guys, you know, how to improve your PvP game. So the first thing I want to talk about, and this sounds obvious, but it's just being patient in general. You know, I think just having patience in PvP is very important. And, you know, that sounds easy, but sometimes PvP gets us tilted. And, you know, once you get in that tilted mood, you don't play as well. So I think just a general rule of thumb, having patience is very important. You know, when the match starts, you don't want to just randomly click a strike or randomly click a blast or whatever. You know, when the match starts, you want to backfloat and just kind of see what your opponent does and try to react to what they do. Now this kind of ties into my second point with the backfloating, is as you're backfloating, you always want to have one thumb ready to click a strike card. You definitely need to play with two hands. I know some people only play with one hand, which is fine, but if you want to, you know, really be serious and be competitive with it, you definitely want to play with two hands. And as you're backfloating, you know, like I said, keep one thumb ready to go on a strike card. And if you get in a habit of being able to stop tackles, it will improve your PvP game tremendously. A lot of people tackle. I think tackling is a good technique, but you just don't want to over tackle. But there's certain situations where tackling is very important. And, you know, if you're on the defending side of that tackle and you're able to just stop it in its tracks and click a strike card, then I think it's really going to help your PvP gameplay. So that is the second tip that I have. This third tip that I have is something I've talked about on stream before and also in my videos. Before we get to this, I also wanted to say this is going to be kind of an advanced tips and tricks video. I should have said this at the beginning, but I'm not going to cover like charge stepping and, you know, just the normal things that you have to do to be able to play well. I think the game's been out for a long time. I think most of you guys know how to charge step and stuff like that. This is going to be kind of more advanced tips and tricks for, you know, the experienced players that kind of already know what they're doing, but they just want to improve their game. So with that being said, like I said, I should have said that at the beginning, but with that being said, let's jump into the third tip here. And like I said, this is something I've talked about before. This is the tackle tech. Now, I haven't seen anybody else cover this. I'm pretty sure I'm kind of the one that tokened this strategy. I'm sure other people do it, but so basically with the tackle tech, this is for when you're fighting somebody and you notice that they continuously, you know, strike into mid-range and then they swipe out at mid-range, or they, you know, they just keep coming up to mid-range and sidestepping, trying to fish for a perfect vanish. And I got my visual example here. You will see that he clicks a strike and then he swipes out at mid-range, right? And I'm just predicting that he swipes out at mid-range. I don't know he's going to do it. Obviously, there's the possibility that he does a full screen strike, but most people don't full screen strike. But yeah, let me show you the visual example. So as you can see, tackle, and boom, catch him in the sidestep. So that looks easier than it really, or it looks harder than it really is, but it's not that hard. You just want to get in the habit. Like I said, if you notice that your enemy is constantly going to mid-range and sidestepping or whatever, or you see them queue up a strike card like this and you just feel like they're going to swipe out of mid-range, you're better off tackling, because if you look right here, if I queue up a strike card, he gets a perfect vanish and I lose priority. That's a given. If I queue up a strike card right here, which I don't even have a strike card, but if I do queue up a strike card right here, he's getting a perfect vanish. So the fact that I realize he's going to swipe out at mid-range, I tackle right here, and this is already forcing him to vanish, unless he's quick enough to click a strike, which something I've noticed is most of the time I don't get caught with strikes right here. But it is possible for him to catch me here. So he's going to vanish, right? he swaps into a new character, and a lot of people, as soon as they swap into a new character, they sidestep immediately. So boom, caught him in the sidestep. And that alone, literally, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember. Yeah, that alone literally won me this game, is the tackle tech and catching him in the sidestep. So that's something to practice for you guys. Like I said, it's not something you're gonna be able to do immediately. I'm not gonna lie, it took me a little bit to get good at the tackle tech, because a lot of it's just muscle reactions, you know? You see your enemy coming up to mid-range, you see him sidestepping, and you gotta tackle. But the thing I do want to talk about the tackle tech is you have to time it correctly. Now, if you look here, I could almost even argue that I was a little bit too late right here with the tackle tech, because I will say, if you're slow with the tackle, they have more time to react and catch you. So you want to literally be queuing up to tackle as soon as you see them at mid-range and like they're in their first sidestep, kind of like right here. He just sidestep, boom, tackle, force the vanish. So that is the main tip that I want to talk about with the tackle tech, is just the fact that you need to be quick with it. If you're late with the tackle tech, it's probably not going to work. You got to tackle as soon as they're coming up to mid-range. But yeah, I'm glad I was able to cover that, because I've been talking about the tackle tech for a while, and I never really, put out a visual representation. So that is the tackle tech. The second tip that I have is basically knowing how to catch your enemy in a sidestep by using a time stop event, whether it's a main ability or a green card. Now, I'm not talking about actually catching them in the sidestep when you time stop. Here, I'll let the visual representation play. Okay, as you can see, I just did a time stop. He's not sidestepping. I didn't catch him yet. Obviously, if you use a time stop event and you literally catch them in the sidestep, then that's just an easy priority. There's nothing to really cover with that. What I'm talking about here is when you pop a time stop event and they don't sidestep, but you know that they're about to queue up a sidestep. Now, if you look at the timing here, now, obviously this doesn't always work like this. Everybody has different timing, but if you look, I'm able to use the time stop to my advantage to catch him in the sidestep. Now, once again, this looks a lot harder than it actually is, but it's just, from playing the game so long, you guys, if you get in a habit of having some patience right here, you pop a time stop event, you do not see them sidestep, you just have a little bit of patience. Now, if you look right here, I'm queuing up my strike. I haven't actually clicked up, I have not actually clicked the strike, but I have my thumb on the strike, ready to let go as soon as I see that sidestep. I think that's actually a whole tip of its own, is when you're waiting to catch somebody in a sidestep, you can hold the strike card and then you just let go of it when you're ready to when you're ready to strike. I think that's a lot better than just clicking it and hoping it goes through. But yeah, as you can see, I do the time stop event, wait a second, boom, catch him in the sidestep. Now, once again, this is probably a little bit, it looks harder than it actually is, but if you get in the habit of just using your time stop events and just having a little bit of patience, boom, you can really, gain some priorities with it. I think that's a very, very good tip to talk about. So let's move on to the third visual representation here. So this is going to be timing your main abilities correctly. Okay. Now, this is similar to the last example, but it's a little different, because what I want to talk about here is you don't want to just be willy-nilly throwing out your main abilities and just hoping, something comes of it. You need to save your time stop events, whether it's, green cards is a little bit more, not that big of a deal if you waste a green card, but main abilities especially, you want to save them for when you really need them. Now, whether this is, in this situation, right after, the enemy swaps in a new unit, and I just want to make sure, to see what they're doing, whatever, or immediately after a rush, or wait, actually, I think this was this after a rush? Yeah, okay, so I just rushed, right? Now, a lot of people tackle immediately after a rush because they know you don't have any cards. If you successfully get a rush off, you don't have any cards in your hand. So a lot of people like to tackle immediately after a rush. So I will say it is smart to save main abilities to pop them in like a situation like this, like right after I just used my rush. but you need to be able to capitalize on actually landing the ultimate. Now, maybe the situation was luck, maybe it was just, you know, I had good timing, whatever. It does not always work out like this, I will say that, but I was able to use my main ability, pop a time stop event. He's not going for anything. Now, if you look, I'm backfloating, right? Now, believe it or not, when you're backfloating like this, it gives you like another couple milliseconds to react because you're not as close, obviously. If you're both at mid-range and you compare that to you backfloating to long range, you have a little bit longer to react, just a little bit. So I will say, you know, I am backfloating. I used my time stop event and I see that exclamation point, right? Now, obviously Gogeta has blast armor. I'm able to just pop it and, you know, get the damage like that. But my main point with this tip is just saving your main abilities for, you know, times where it actually helps you gain priority. You don't want to just be throwing out your main abilities willy-nilly. But yeah, that's a pretty simple tip. Just, you know, saving your main abilities for when you really need them. Whether it's, like I said, after a rush or, you know, after, you know, really anything. Any time where you can catch somebody in a sidestep or right after a rush. I think it's smart to save your main abilities for those situations. Now, I have another example here. This is the single tap. Now, I will say, this is another one of those strategies that I think I kind of came up with. I don't really see too many other people doing this. And I will warn you guys, this technique is not as successful as the tackle tech. The tackle tech, when properly done, probably works like 75-80% of the time. This technique, it does work, but it's probably, you know, 50-60% of the time success rate. But what it is you go up, single tap, and then I'm gonna sidestep, and then he sidesteps, and as you can see, I already queued up my strike. That is the single tap technique. I'm queuing up the strike as I sidestep, boom, catch him in the sidestep. Now, like I said, this isn't something that's gonna work all the time, and as more and more people catch on to it, it's not gonna work because I'll tell you guys right now, if somebody single taps you, there is a way to just immediately gain priority, and that's just by queuing up a strike or a blast. So I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Right here, I'm defenseless right here, right in this little, you know, right in these couple frames, I'm defenseless right after the single tap. If he queues up a strike or a blast right after I single tap, he gains free priority. There's nothing I can do about it. So there is certain situations where this will not work, but you know, if you guys watch my content a lot, you guys see me do this a lot, and this does save my ass in a lot of situations. It really does. I think it is a good technique. It's just not something that you want to, you know, overdo all the time. But other than that, I think, you know, everything else that you guys need to remember when it comes to, you know, high rank PvP, like I said, just be patient, take advantage of backfloating. You know, a lot of people act like backfloating is this passive, you know, annoying thing to deal with, when in reality, backfloating is just giving you more time to react to what your opponent's doing. You know, like I mentioned before, if you're both at mid-range, you have less time to react, but if you're backfloating, it gives you a couple extra frames to react to what the enemy's doing. And the other thing I think is very important is being able to, you know, like I said before, catch people in tackles. You want to play with two thumbs, you know, backfloat with one thumb and have your other thumb ready to go on a strike card. I think that alone is a very, very important thing to master. But yeah, I can't really think of anything else. Just be patient, take advantage of backfloating, time your main abilities properly. Don't just waste your main abilities. You know, the tackle tech really, really works. I think this is something that, you know, as time goes on, more and more people are going to realize how good of a strategy it is. Because like I said, I don't see too many people using the tackle tech. I've actually seen a couple JP guys using it. Like recently, I've seen a couple JP guys doing it, but I haven't really seen anybody publicly talk about the tackle tech besides myself. So I do think the tackle tech is a very, very good strategy. Like I said, I would not be surprised if people start doing it more and more often as time goes on. And then we got the single tap. Obviously, a decent technique doesn't always work. I'm trying to think of something else. Did I miss anything? I don't think so. I think we covered some of the major tips, and this doesn't mean this is the only, maybe down the line I'll come out with another tips and tricks video if I, think of some more stuff to talk about. But yeah, I think, if you guys stick to, just being patient and, remembering, not like I just did in that video. If you stick to being patient and remember some of these tips that I've talked about, I do really think it will help you guys in the long run. Now, if you look, this is an example of what I was kind of talking about. This is something I think a lot of people struggle with, is the very beginning of the match. What do I do? What do I do? Do I click a strike? Do I click a blast? No. Like I've talked about, you want to this is, match just started. You want to backfloat. Now, you can't see it. If I had a hand camera, you could see it. But I have one of my thumbs hovering over one of these strike cards. And if the enemy tackles, I'm going to catch him. So that's the thing, is you want to start the match, backfloat, be ready to click a strike, right? And then just kind of go from there. Now, I just kind of got lucky in this situation, but obviously, Blue Boy's blue card getting Vanish back is just busted. But yeah, I think that basically covers most of what I wanted to talk about. I hope you guys can take these tips and tricks and, really improve your PvP game. I hope you guys can, really use these to your advantage. But yeah, I don't know how good this video was. Like I said, I've never made a tips and tricks video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys can take something from this and learn something. I want to finish this off by saying I'm not a perfect player. I don't always play perfectly. I do think I'm decent at the game, but I'm not a perfect player. You guys see me make mistakes all the time. So the thing I want to leave you guys with before I end the video is, just practice. It takes time to get good at this game. It's not something that you can just hop in and immediately be really good. I've put probably thousands of hours into this game at this point. So just practice, use these tips to your advantage and really practice, getting better at them. And just, I think the biggest takeaway is just being patient. Being patient is so important. But yeah, with that being said, I think I'm going to end the video there. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Definitely stay tuned for more. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and head out. Later, guys.